Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Web and Beyond Live. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, and I'm president of W3 Consulting, as well as managing director of W3C Web Services, which provides affordable and friendly web and WordPress hosting, domain name registration services, as well as other web-related services for small business. And so, welcome to Web and Beyond Live. For today is July 13th, I believe, 2020, if my watch is correct. And so we are going to be talking about some of the social media news that is important to small business this week. And so what I thought I would do is do a rundown of really all of the changes to the platform. I'm going to try and do this once a month and really update everybody in terms of what's going on and in the social media world as it relates to small business. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp and you name it. So let's get into the news then. So starting right off the top of the bat is that LinkedIn has added the ability to audio record your name pronunciation. And so this is really helpful for those who have, non-normative names, so to speak, that people just generally don't know how to pronounce. Honestly, people sometimes mispronounce my name or get my name wrong in all kinds of ways. And so I'm going to do this myself very shortly, and it gives you a 10-second audio clip to add to your own LinkedIn profile so that when someone shows up and wants to pronounce your name correctly, they can go ahead and do that from having that little bit of information in front of them. Next up is just a little bit of politics, and it's just unfortunate, but as small business owners, we have to be aware of politics. And if you don't know, TikTok is a platform that's short video clips, and I've basically all but ignored them just because I don't see them being the largest vehicle for small business to really adopt and adapt into their digital marketing yet. And so, but they've made some significant inroads. They're a Chinese-based company, and so there's lots of politics involved in any U.S. relationship, certainly a U.S. small business relationship with China, because of our governmental kind of conflict that's ongoing. And so, last week, the U.S. government, kind of contemplated, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo kind of intimated that they may be banning TikTok in the United States. TikTok put out a transparency report. I'm presuming that was in line with maybe attempting to ameliorate the situation, but just be mindful of the fact that we are in a situation where we could be seeing TikTok banned in the United States. It was banned in India, I believe, last week or the week before that. So we have some issues there that we have to be cognizant of. We don't really have that concern with any of the other major social media networks or social networks in the United States, but it seems like that might be an issue here in the United States for TikTok. So just be aware that that's happening. Next up is just a small infographic that I recently came across, and it gives context for small business owners in terms of where they may want to or may not want to be active on social media. And so if I bring this up on screen, you can see here we have the Statista infographic called "Facebook Dominates the Social Media Landscape," and as you can see here, it certainly does. If we look at the basic numbers here in the top six, Facebook owns, it's Facebook and then Facebook owned properties in the top 6 slots for social media, just altogether. I think this is just remarkable to kind of think about in the overall perspective of how and where you engage in social media. If we take out Tencent owned companies, those are the ones in purple, and just remove those because of their kind of China or Asia based or Asia focused markets, then Facebook is elevated and dominates 4 out of the top 5. So you can see Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, and Instagram, 4 out of the top 5 end up being Facebook dominated. Now, Google, of course, owns YouTube and retains its second tier spot, just neck and neck with WhatsApp. Now, of course, when you think about social media and purely social network perspectives, then Facebook has Facebook and Instagram. YouTube has Google has YouTube. YouTube is a video social network at its core, in addition to being the world's largest video search engine. So just contextualize that for yourself as you are starting to think about strategy going forward regarding how things play out. As we're going to talk about in a little while, video is becoming more important, and Pinterest is obviously making note of that in some of the news we're going to talk about. And because of that, Facebook has made some, big inroads on video. For example, I predominantly go here live to you through YouTube Live, but I'm actually multi-streaming right now, just as a new addition within the broadcast studio that I'm using to Facebook Live. So it just gives me an additional distribution stream. Now, is anybody going to watch it on Facebook Live? Is my audience really there? I don't know. But at 2.5 billion monthly active users, I'm presuming someone will serendipitously show up on my Facebook Live videos and watch them. So we just have to be cognizant of the fact that Facebook is a juggernaut in terms of social networks and social media more generally, but also note that YouTube is the primary video social network, and it doesn't seem like Facebook has been able to challenge them well enough yet with Facebook or with Instagram. And so we'll see over time whether that is true. That Facebook becomes a true competitor to the YouTube platform, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like that is the case. Okay, so if we take that down, wonderful. Next up is a series of Facebook news. I wanted to cover these all kind of aggregated together because I think they make a lot of sense to do so. So we're going to start off with some Instagram news, then we'll talk a little bit about Facebook and CCPA compliance. And so Instagram has done a bunch of things in kind of the face of the pandemic to bring new features out and really help folks. One of those things that they noted back in May was that Facebook and Instagram was going to be bringing something called Shops, or the Shops tab, to the interface. In essence, it was going to be a very lightweight e-commerce solution, and so we're starting to see that now. They first invited some creators onto the platform, and we're testing it and so on and so forth. And now what we're seeing is that on Tuesday, they have expanded access to more types of businesses, including creators on Instagram. So we're going to see more and more Instagram shopping tabs show up for creators as well as businesses generally. And so that means you'll have a little shopping tab at the bottom of your screen that will allow you to be able to have folks come to your Instagram profile and buy directly from you. This is really going to shake up at least my notion of social selling and how social commerce really operates within these social networks. Pinterest and other platforms have had shoppable pins. Instagram has brought that through a paid environment. And so we'll see how this Instagram Shops really plays out, because so far I've been fairly, down on the idea of using social media or social networks to sell. You use that as an awareness campaign or a consideration campaign, but not for direct sales. And that was primarily because you had to pay in order to get Instagram or Facebook or any of the other, Pinterest or otherwise, to convert from someone from not knowing you to a sale almost immediately. And that didn't really create a long-term viable relationship. Here, though, you're actually capable of creating relationships with people on social networks, which is the point. And that, of course, means that your community then has the ability to also buy from you directly from the platform. And there's no upfront cost to the business for having an Instagram shop or a Facebook shop or otherwise. So in this particular case, the upfront cost is removed, which means you're not paying to play in that way. You do have to pay on the back end for, credit card fees and so on and so forth. They're going to make their money somehow, but the upfront cost, so that you're not in essence paying for advertising, changes the dynamic for me in the way in which I think about the strategy for small business for doing this. I still don't like the notion of having your social media be the only place where people can buy from you online. So that is for me a weakness within the organization. If you think about a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Strengths and weaknesses are on the inside. Opportunities and threats are on the outside. The idea of having only one avenue for people to buy from you being owned by Facebook seems like a really high-level weakness within the organization. So that really doesn't make me excited about it. But we'll continue to watch that market and see how it all works. Right now, if you're in North America, United States, and Canada, you are eligible for Instagram shopping. And so just be aware that you can look for it. There are some criteria for being able to add Instagram shopping to your system. I'll put a link to the shopping availability and requirements in the video show notes, in the episode show notes. Okay, next up, Instagram has added the ability for you to pin posts. And more importantly, you're capable of pinning up to 3 posts on any particular item, which is really remarkable because what they're really trying to do is to have positive posts highlighted within the comment feed. And now what they're doing is they're giving you the ability to really elevate those comments that you like about your brand to that top space, which inevitably creates a covering of other comments that could be apathetic or comments that could be negative in that sense, and hopefully that will reduce, for people who have big brands and much larger audiences, really cover up the trolls and other negative commenting that really happens out there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this really plays out in the real world. But for you, what you can do now is you can actually engage with your audience and then look for the best comments for that piece of content that you just posted, whether that be a photo, video, or a gallery of items, and then pin those specific posts up to 3, as I said. And now you have this kind of nice, neat way of structuring those things. Also, if you have additional commentary that you want to provide based on your comments, maybe you posted it, but you really didn't have enough space inside of the comment field, and you wanted to add more context, you can go ahead and pin a post with that further or additional context to that particular post. So I think it's just all around a good additional feature, and I'm looking forward to seeing how people use it and how that really works into the overall Instagram small business marketing strategy. In line with Instagram, again, Instagram has provided a new option for IGTV. Now, IGTV is something that I'm actually going to be playing around and testing more. IGTV is the Instagram TV platform, and what that allows you to do is to upload video. Now, it is in portrait view, not landscape view. You're seeing me right now in landscape view, but it is in portrait view. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do outright, or first, is just basically upload this Web and Beyond Live in landscape, which will require people to turn the phone that they're watching it on, or tablet that they're watching it on, sideways in order to be able to watch it. And we'll see what happens there. Then the other option is to actually crop, go into the video editing software, and then cut just the video in the center so that it becomes portrait, and then uploading that and seeing what kind of engagement happens on the platform as Instagram and IGTV really starts to bring monetization to the platform. And that's the thing that they're really trying to do here. So they brought 2 new options. One is to be able to edit your preview and edit your profile cover within your IGTV clips. And that's going to be really interesting to see that preview image and the thumbnail associated with it, to be able to modify it going forward, so that you do have the just a better experience for users on the platform. And again, their IGTV is going to be monetized soon, and as they bring monetization to the platform, they really want to make that user experience better. And I think this is one step in that direction for them, of just identifying what's going to make this most optimal for people coming across IGTV clips, and so on and so forth. They can be up to, I believe, an hour in length, an IGTV video. So certainly something to consider if you're going into doing more video in that way. Now, as I said at the top, the U.S. is considering banning, or they're having this political and political conversation about whether or not they should ban TikTok. But India has gone ahead and banned TikTok, and in that same, and again, I'm pretty sure that's an India-China governmental level conflict. But Instagram has decided to launch, in essence, what they call Reels. Reels are just like TikTok. It's basically a TikTok clone inside of the Instagram application. Now, this is interesting to me because Facebook just recently decided to shut down 2 apps. One is an app called Hobby, which was a Pinterest clone, and they now have shut down Lasso, which was a TikTok clone. So Facebook has not seen a great amount of success in copying TikTok or Pinterest in that matter. And yet at the same time, they've added to the Instagram platform this Reels functionality, which is, like I said, it just feels just like TikTok inside of Instagram. So we'll see how this all works out. You can create up to a 15-second looping video within Reels. And right now, this functionality is only available in India. I'm presuming that as they do a little bit more research and testing of the application and the functions within Instagram, they'll maybe bring that to the broader market. But just keep that on the horizon. This is clearly something that Instagram and Facebook, the parent company, is thinking about very highly, and they want to really make sure that they're gonna take over if TikTok goes away. But at the same time, TikTok is a major challenger to them. As I showed you on that initial, infographic, TikTok is right there, catching up just under the, billion user mark for monthly active users. So, Facebook knows and understands them as a competitor, and that means they want to make sure that they are adding features that are going to keep them top of mind. Okay. Moving right along, and my last piece of Facebook news is that Facebook is implementing some CCPA compliance, and they're calling the feature limited data use. And so CCPA is the California Consumer Privacy Act that went into effect in January of 2020. January 1st, 2020 was the day that it has been and gone into effect. And then, of course, the compliance window opens on July 1st. So that's when businesses can start being sued by folks. So we should really be considering this. We've had over 2 years to start thinking about this, and just like with the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation in European Union, and otherwise, this is extrajudicial. So, or extraterritorial. In the sense that just because you're not in California doesn't mean that you don't have people from California, and in this case, anyone in California that's a resident visiting your websites outside of California. You are still culpable for adhering to the requirements. So we have to just really consider this. Facebook is starting with the first thing. They call this the limited data use tool, and you can affirmatively include it or exclude it using some functions within your Facebook pixel implemented on your website. So if you use the Facebook pixel, you are then able to modify this using the limited data use tool, and so you have to really make a determination as to whether or not you are going to be doing CCPA compliance as an overall piece. If you are already doing GDPR compliance, you're probably doing some level of CCPA compliance, but probably not to the effect that the CCPA wants you to. So you need to just really start thinking about that. I would look at the article that I've linked to in the video and just give it a reading, because it's worth thinking about, okay, are these things that you are going to be susceptible to? And if you have honestly anyone visiting from California that are residents, you need to then start thinking about whether or not you allow that traffic or disallow that traffic based on where you are and what type of business you are trying to access. The problem with that even then is that I could be a California resident and use a VPN, virtual private network, and still visit your website. And I'm curious to see whether or not then whether litigation will ensue based on folks who are visiting and shielding their IP address, their geolocation data, and saying then, well, I'm a California resident and you're still collecting data about me, and so therefore I'm going to sue you. So this is going to be a very interesting world over the next 6 to 18 months as we see litigation start from the CCPA. But just know that this is not the last step in this pipeline. We're going to see other states exact. I think now we have 4 or 5 states, maybe 6 states, with different types of data protection, security, and privacy laws in place since the GDPR has come into play. And so this is kind of a mishmash across the 50 plus states. That is the 50 states plus our territories. And we're going to have to see some federal legislation to kind of unify what it is that we should be doing. But in this case, we have this, Wisconsin, I believe, and other states that have different levers that they're using for holding businesses and website publishers accountable for the data they're collecting. So just pay attention to what CCPA is doing. It seems to be the most aggressive one in the country so far. And so if you can comply with that, then hopefully you're complying with most of the other states' laws going forward. Okay. That's the end of Facebook news for this week. And let's get into some other news. And that, of course, takes us to another major tech company, which is Microsoft. Microsoft has added a free search and social campaign management platform. It's directly related or focused on small businesses. And so this is called the Digital Marketing Center. And this allows you to really power both organic and ad-based social media campaigns all together. You can do this for Microsoft ads, Google, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And so if you are in the Microsoft ecosystem and you're looking to have a place to kind of manage all of these pieces, maybe the Digital Marketing Center could work for you to be able to help manage these pieces, both through organic social management as well as your ad management on the other side. I haven't yet seen it. It's currently free, is my understanding, to use. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the beta. But just know that it is out there and it is active, and it could be very useful to small businesses who are looking for a tool to centralize all those pieces together. Okay. Next up is Pinterest. Pinterest is updating their feed algorithm. This allows them to show different content types across the system without affecting user experience. And the end point here, like the underlined line or the bolded line, is that Pinterest is going to be most likely elevating different types of content in users' feeds. And of course, that probably means video. So pay attention to how your users are experiencing the platform and your data, because video is probably going to become more important on the Pinterest platform as Pinterest makes these further updates. They're going to be prioritizing different content types. And of course, video is more engaging. So fresh new videos on the platform are probably going to get higher billing than other types of content. Next up, and sorry, I meant to put this in the Facebook news, but either way, WhatsApp has added QR codes for businesses, and that allows you to be able to now have a QR code related to your business, which means now you can place that QR code, print it, and place it in retail environments. You can place it on your website, and gives you an opportunity to be able to highlight a very quick way for people to go ahead and access and therefore follow your WhatsApp business profile. So if you're taking advantage of that, go ahead and find your little QR code within the platform and go ahead and start using it. The other feature that they've added is a concept called catalogs. And as WhatsApp says on their own notice about it, it says catalogs allow businesses to showcase and share the goods or services they offer, which can help them close sales. Since launching last year, catalogs have become a popular way for people to engage with a business on WhatsApp. It says more than 40 million people view a business catalog on WhatsApp each month. And so you can have a basic page. Actually, I can pull it up and show you, hopefully. So let's see here. Where is WhatsApp? There goes WhatsApp. And yeah, let me show you this because it's really quite fascinating to me. So here you can see the article, but down here we see, there it is. Okay, so as you can see here, this is Sandra's Cakes, and they have their primary page, and then see that little catalog below there where you can see all the other items. If you click See All, then you get a new page, and you can actually scroll through their catalog of products. And so that's really what they're adding, and very, very unique. And again, if you are focused on the Facebook experience and WhatsApp being one of those pieces within WhatsApp Business, this can be actually really powerful for directing people to specific products. Okay, last couple of news items. I just have two more news items, and that is Twitter has rolled out in, I think, 3 or 4 countries a new feature called Fleet. Fleet is a stories feature, just like Instagram stories, Snapchat stories, and other Facebook stories, and otherwise. And so what they're doing now is Fleet is in testing, and in Brazil, they've added a collaborative feature for multiple creators to be able to, in essence, co-create fleets, these stories. So it clearly tells us that there's going to be a movement toward Twitter adding fleets to their platform. They're investing more time and energy in this, and it's coming. So for those of you who are aware of how powerful storytelling can be, you need to think about how and whether Twitter is a part of your strategy, and what you're going to be doing for adding that strategy component, that is stories that they call fleets, to your overall social media marketing strategy. It's another distribution point. We'll see if Twitter allows other platforms, like Hootsuite and Buffer and otherwise, to be able to post to those fleets. So that'll be the big item. That'll make it easier for all of us. But we'll see what happens. But just know that it's coming. We still don't know all the details about how it's going to be working out, but that is. And then last up in this week's news is that Flickr has, in essence, overhauled its feed. So in essence, Flickr, the photo sharing social network and social media site, it's a photo hosting service and so on and so forth. They have, in essence, moved the second column on the right-hand side is a location now for custom content. So if you are, just viewing the system, now the explore features, the different pieces of information, groups and otherwise, are going to start being displayed on the left-hand side for you. On the left-hand side, they're in essence doing a card-based cover system where your normal feed items are going to now show up, and so it'll be basically a new experience, but it's pretty easy to understand what's going on. Left hand side is your feed, right hand side is for new content, and then they'll be adding in some filters in the center there for you, as I can note here, and it just gives you some options for filtering down to friends only, group activity, people you follow, and so on and so forth. And then you can drop down for those options as well. So I think that it's from my perspective, I don't see much of a difference in the interface in terms of how I would use or see Flickr any differently. I don't know a lot of people who are still using Flickr either. So that's kind of, Flickr's challenge du jour, is to really figure out why and what is their value that they're bringing to the table as a social network today, when really most people have everything contained in other social networks, including Google Photos and otherwise. So just know that that is now available and is there. So that brings us to the end of my social media news for this month. And yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this live stream. If you did, feel free to click the thumbs up icon. That helps us make new small business friends. And so thank you for doing that. If you have a question, leave a comment on the video. You can also tweet or message me at W3 Consulting on the various social media profiles. You can join us every Monday here, typically at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unless we otherwise note it on social channels, that'll be another time. It's typically 11 a.m. Eastern on Mondays. And so thank you so much for spending this time, this Web and Beyond Live with me. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, and on behalf of W3 Consulting and W3C Web Services, have a great week ahead marketing your small business on the Web and Beyond. Take care, everybody.